Speaking of unlocked, not really. What's up, everyone? This is Press X to Ramble. Press X to Ramble is the video podcast, where we get to talk about whatever we want. And today, we are rambling about Invincible, because they do that in the show, and I decided to do that.
You could have did something.
I was hoping like this. That wouldn't track at all.
You can still splash it across the screen.
It's not going to track at all audio-wise, but I hope you do, please.
Hey, Marcus, as we said earlier, fuck them. No, don't really. We're joking, okay?
Wow.
Because you guys are amazing, and we appreciate all your support. That was the Viltrumite version of myself. And if you're wondering what that joke was about and what's all this is about, you're only getting half of the experience, because the video portion of this is the portion that you should be watching. So if you're wondering where you can get that, of course, it's our YouTube channel at pressxnumber2start.com/YouTube, or you can go to youtube.com and search for us. But the other way is a lot easier. I today am your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka the man with unpopular opinions, apparently, aka did you know
what?
If you have a son and you raise the son, using the son as said weapon to get your son to be on your side is not a way to do that at all.
Oh, we gonna talk. We gonna talk.
I am Sean MF Ross.
What MF stand for?
If you're a true American, then you think Nolan did nothing wrong.
Whoa! Oh boy! All right now.
Words have been said.
Yeah. I'm your heavyweight champion from Witch Nigga Wood, California, aka the janitor because of be watch niggas, aka Battle Beast #1, nigga. Let's go.
That's true.
Battle
That's true.
Beast.
I fucks with him. He was about it.
Any boy Jordan, aka JXBot, aka the last member of the Guardians of the Globe.
Ooh. Big
the most previous one. Now, I'm not the ones that get wiped out in the first 20 minutes. I'm the one that kind of checked in, caught a sick day, luckily, and never came back to the base.
Jordan had invisibility powers, showed up to the meeting a little late, and just stayed in the corner like, oh.
Would have been wise.
Jordan checked in for the cookies and bounced. Okay, well, speaking of bouncing, let's get to talking about Invincible season 1. Marcus, you go first. What was your impressions of this entire season?
So
in Spanish, go.
Oh my God. My Duolingo is not that strong yet.
Wait a goddamn minute. You've been dating her how long? You don't know no Spanish?
I didn't say I don't know no Spanish. I can't go on a diatribe about Invincible in Spanish.
Mira.
No, Sean, he knows words. He just doesn't know sentences.
¿Dónde es la biblioteca?
Why are you looking for the library? But anyways,
use el baños. No, go ahead.
My impressions on the season. I really liked this season, or the first season. It did a good job of remixing the source material in a way that worked more for TV formatting, because they only had 8 episodes to work within. And so the way that they reshaped the storyline and added a certain mystery element to it and whatnot without spoiling anything, I think really worked to the show's credit. My only real gripe with the show was that the animation in places looked a little dated to me, and I'm still iffy on the whole CG / 2D what is it?
Yeah,
mixture?
When they switch over to like 3D usage.
I feel like most shows nowadays, anime and American animation, still haven't got that blend well. Yeah, and so that kind of took me out at places. But when the animation is great, which is usually during the fights, it's really good. But yeah, overall, I'm a big fan of this, and I look forward to seeing where they go going forward. And if I had to rate the first season, I'd probably give it like an 8.5 or a 9.
Okay. Jordan, how about you?
I enjoyed specific moments of the first season. It locked me in at the very beginning. Like that first episode was very visceral, very violent. I mean, violent to the point of cathartic. Like this feeling of, this is the strongest person in the world, and they would not have any issues, dispatching these A-list superheroes. But we'll get to that in a second.
He had some issues. Maybe not like he had some.
But it was a very
son of a bitch.
I think it was more so
one-sided, though.
annoyances, not issues. Well, I mean, watching the whole series, you realize they were just minor annoyances.
Well, we'll talk about that in the spoiler section because there's a reason why. I will let you know. Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay.
But I mean, there were characters characters of importance that were underdeveloped, and some characters that I did not deem as critical to the core storyline that they kind of overdeveloped.
Mhm.
I mean, in the comics, it was clear that they had a pretty prominent role, and of course, they're trying to set them up for subsequent seasons. But at the same time, within an 8-episode season, I mean, like introduce them when the time is right. Essentially, I mean, we'll go into that list of characters, but overall, it was a very fun, solid show. It reminds me of the old, like style-wise, the old Static Shocks and Justice League Unlimited, and Batman animated series. But we're adults now, and adults can afford Amazon Prime, and they allowed
afford to steal it from someone else.
Yeah, no, I'm actually paying for my Amazon Prime this time, but
you moneybags Jordan.
I mean, I'm not paying for no fucking Apple TV. I know that much.
Balance.
But yeah, like, in terms of a rating, I would give it between a 7.5 and an 8.
Okay.
It was solid. It was a solid season.
Okay. So it was kind of clear from Marcus, but in terms of Marcus, you had some experience with Invincible before the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Jordan, did you?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So me too. Like I didn't have any experience watching this, so I kind of went in with fresh eyes. And overall, I think this show is good. I had a couple of issues in terms of how it wrapped up, how quickly it wrapped up. I liked the relationships between Mark and his mom and his dad, and Mark having to balance like essentially work in life. Like I liked all that stuff. I liked the action. I liked the fight scenes. I liked how gruesome and brutal a lot of the fights were. I did have a few issues here and there when it came to world building and especially power scaling. I was so confused, especially when we talk about that first fight and how Nolan won, but it looked like it really took a toll on him versus basically versus how other things go about later on in the show. Overall, I would give Invincible I'll go 7.25. Yeah, go 7.25. It's better than 7, but I think season 2 and
it's got room to grow for you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's fair.
Sean.
I enjoyed it mainly. I mean, like Jordan said, I grew up on action movies in the 90s and the 80s. I like a lot of violence, as strange as that may sound. So
you're among other people.
He woke up and chose violence.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of gruesome, I guess, but there were a few annoying characters, like Jordan said. There are some people they could have announced or introduced later. But I mean, I get why it wouldn't make sense to introduce some people later on in the series. Like they did it for a reason. I don't have an actual number scale for it. It was just enjoyable. I can't wait to see season 2. It's just, I really like the way they worked in the title card every show.
Yeah.
I will say that because there is going to be a live action, I think, movie of this as well.
Wait, what?
I don't know. I don't know.
We don't need that.
I trust me. I don't. I don't know why, but
Okay.
I don't think they're working in tandem. Like, I don't think
Tell them to stop, Marcus. Tell your people.
All right, I'll call
Make the
Robert
call
Kirkman
right now. Do it on
But,
air.
Okay. Robert, they said stop. What do you want me to tell them? I mean,
Well, I
No,
looked up live action Invincible, and I do see some live action fan art, but I'm not.
well, no,
seeing
it's they are making a movie. It's like not far along in development, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
There's still like there's no casting or anything for it, but they know that is coming. And I have a feeling that the live action Invincible movie will be more for people who don't know what Invincible is.
Mhm.
And I feel like this show and the way that they handled some of the introductions and the way that they use some of the material, I feel like it is sort of for people who are coming in blind, but it's really for people but it adds a layer for people who already know the story. So I
Yeah.
think that it's that's why I feel like it might be a little bit of a mixed bag for you guys.
Okay. With that being said, we can actually start talking about all this stuff. So,
All right.
that's been our spoiler-free section. We are now going to go into spoilers. So you've been warned. If you haven't watched the show, go watch the show before listening to any of this because
Yeah.
it's probably going to ruin it for you a little bit. But it is what it is.
Or I mean, if you're into just being spoiled before watching something, I mean, hey,
If it's your kink, we're not going to stop you.
exactly. We don't kink shame here at Press X to Start.
Nope. That's his fucking feet. With that being said, let's go into let's talk about Nolan first. And
All right.
so I guess Marcus, you have the most information on him. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Okay. So, letting people know, I read not the entire run of Invincible. I knew about how everything wraps up, but I didn't read the entire run because my plug for the trades, it kind of like ran out and like life got crazy. But I read a good chunk of Invincible. And so by the time the show came out, because the show had been in and out of development for years, like to the point where I just didn't even think it was coming out. And then they dropped the trailer and I'm like, oh, okay.
When did the novel come out?
Oh, man.
The first issue released in 2003.
Yeah. So it's been,
Wow.
Yeah.
This
I'm
is
glad I didn't get into it back then.
Yeah, this has been a thing for a while. And it went over, I think like 140 something issues. Yeah,
there's a lot of issues.
Yeah, so it was long running. So Nolan is basically, from a optics standpoint, he is kind of like a more quote unquote realistic viewpoint of a Superman style character. But he's really like a conqueror. Like that is his bag. That is his thing. That is his whole race's thing.
Right.
Now, when we were talking about that first fight that he had with the Guardians of the Globe, where he wiped them in that first episode, which was wild for me to see because that does not happen until not like much later, but it definitely doesn't happen in the first issue. Like that is not something that happens right away.
Yeah.
And so that fight, at least the way that I read it or the way that I saw it, one, Nolan wasn't fighting from a place of anger. Nolan was fighting from okay, this just has to get done. I like, y'all are in the way of what needs to be done here. The facade is up. I now know that my son is a possibility. So let's just get this thing going. And so if he was fighting with anger, he would have wiped them. He would have wiped, I think, a majority of them way quicker.
So are the
way
Viltrumites
quicker.
like Saiyans in terms of they get stronger as they get angrier?
Somewhat, not in
Okay,
like
okay.
a not
Not
in
specifically Broly, but go ahead. Or
Right,
as
yeah,
time
yeah.
goes on, but sure, whatever.
like not necessarily like their power level goes up, but more so
Mhm.
just like when they're fighting with intent to like
Kill.
I hate you, I'm going to kill you. Yeah, it's a different game. Whereas when he's fighting from a place of like, okay, you guys are ants. You're just a part of the thing. No hard feelings. You got to go. And so he was fighting in that way. And then also he was fighting and letting them get certain licks in so that it was easier for it to look like they got
Oh,
attacked.
yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
So he was playing the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. That's something that I didn't think about at the time, and like that you say it, like, yeah, that makes perfect sense as to why he lets those shots get in. Yeah, so I overall I liked his character. I think for me it kind of fell apart, no fault to his own, but more so just due to the writing of the show and how they had to get certain things in place in order for certain scenes to hit. So for example, the second to last episode, it was episode 7, right? Where the whole like we have to talk, and it was just like, yeah, this could have happened a lot sooner, or like the whole conversation of Viltrumites could have happened way before this point. Like,
well,
there's a reason he didn't do that. But go ahead, Marcus.
To me, first off, Nolan, and one of the things that I liked a lot about the way that they mapped out this season is the fact that Nolan is still, up until he snapped, Nolan is still a father. And he's lived a chunk of his, at least, Earth existence as a family man. Like he's lived, married to Debbie and raising Mark. And he raised Mark not knowing that he was going to be like he was trying to kind of do things quote unquote the right way. Because also he was still listening to Debbie at that time. Like he was still letting her influence his kind of decision making and kind of thinking a little more human. He wasn't like full on, all right, you guys, it's time to get this out the way. It was more so like, all right, let me see. And then he found out, oh, Mark wants to be a hero. Mark wants to be like me. Okay, let's see how he manages. Let's see how this works out. But once that flip switched, also because he's also operating on nobody knows that he wiped the Guardians. Once it was out, he was like, all right, look, we have to talk about this now. Like the game is afoot. Everybody knows what's going on. I just got to tell you what's up so that you can join me and we can take this place over. The facade is over. Let's just get this thing going. So if it would have happened earlier, it kind of, I can see.
You wouldn't have a show, Donald.
Yeah,
the story would have been different.
Yeah.
I think my confusion comes at the last episode where he's explaining what Viltrumites, right?
Viltrumites, yeah.
What Viltrumites are, and like the fact that we are a race of superior beings that just conquer. We have an empire, and that's the thing that we're doing. And we've actually changed it up. Instead of sending our forces to each planet, we're having one person go and live a normal life and then deciding one day to conquer it. Like, I don't understand why he just didn't go there from jump and be like, all right, there's no superhero people here that can really do anything.
They explained in the 8th episode they changed their strategy. Like, instead of being
to weaken the planet.
Exactly, because if you go in there guns a-blazing right away, they're going to try and fight back, and then you could potentially ruin resources and lose possible slaves.
PJ would make a horrible spy.
Right.
No. But what I'm saying is that you go there, you basically weaken the planet, and then you take over, right? At what point did he weaken the planet?
He lulled them into a false sense of security. They thought he was their greatest hero. If things went the way that he was hoping they would go, if nobody found out about the Guardians or whatnot, when it came time for him to be like, I need you guys to help me, there would probably been some resistance, but it would have been an easier transition than forcibly doing it. Also, there's the Debbie of it all. He wasn't expecting to marry and
goddamn humans.
Yeah, like that was something that was not part of the plan. Debbie was the outlier here.
I get what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but like watching it, it did seem like, yes, Debbie kind of threw a wrench in his whole like conquering plan, but like
Debbie's great.
Well, does Omni-Man love Debbie?
That's the thing. That's the thing. He calls her a pet, and it's just like, he's also lived for thousands of years because he said that, and he said like this is all
Omni-Man loves Mark more than
does he though?
I think that Omni-Man loves Debbie, but have you ever been in a situation where you're trying to?
I don't have a life, so this doesn't apply to me.
Have you ever been in a situation where you're trying to get a point across, so you go the coldest route in order to get the point across instead of trying to be like empathetic? Because at that point,
every day in Gundam,
I hear you.
People come up to me and I show them, no, you don't do that here.
Like we don't do that here.
Nolan had completely turned off, or at least tried his best to turn off that switch. So when he was talking to Mark, he was talking to him as a Viltrumite. And then as we see in episode 8, like toward the end of episode 8, he realizes he can't fully turn off that switch or else he would have killed Mark. He would have killed Mark on that mountain.
I tell Drea this all the time. Kids make people do irrational things.
Yep.
And it's that could I save my child or a bus full of children shit. It's your child. You're going to do the irrational shit and save the few instead of the many.
It's just, I think, no, go ahead.
Or you're going to forget your mission, but go ahead.
Yeah, that makes sense and that works out or whatever. In the context
it'll happen to you.
And no, maybe in the context of, I've, this is my first child, whatever, like I might do irrational things or whatever, but Nolan has lived for thousands of years. He makes it a point that this is a thing that he does. So to me, it's kind of like, all right, if you're like, all right, I guess I had to kill Mark, then you kill Mark. But like
it was so like you're saying that it's a judgment in service of the story.
I think
so much
exactly.
Like
well, no, because just because you've been alive for thousands of years doesn't mean that you've loved love. Like there's clearly like, I feel like there's a misconception of being immortal means that something can't happen to you that changes your whole perspective. As long as you're alive, something can change your perspective on something. And I think that Debbie and the way that because Debbie also was one of my favorite characters on the show. Like before we get to the favorite characters section, she's one of my favorite characters on the show because of the way that she just knows the right things to say. And I think that,
and she sucked it from behind. They don't do that
on Brooklyn. She licked the taint and everything. But but no, I think that she really left a big impression on Nolan. Yeah. And I think that she represented something that he had never experienced before. And so I feel like,
I mean, she makes it clear that like, she's like, I taught you how to be a hero.
Exactly.
Like I was the one that did that.
He was not a hero before Omni-Man. He was just a Viltrumite conqueror.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, like, I understand your kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's in the service of the story, but I really do feel like there is a deeper reason as to why he was so conflicted and he had to go overkill because I feel like it was half him trying to convince Mark of like, this is pointless, stop fighting, and also him trying to turn off that switch in his head, any sort of conscience in the back of his head.
But just on the face of it, you've had a child, you've raised this child to a point where the child wants to be a hero, not necessarily just want to be a superpower being. The child wants to be specifically a hero because he sees that you've been a hero. So the whole thing of, all right, I guess I gotta beat it out of you, it's just like, that's not gonna, like, he's looking at you as a villain. Like, that's not gonna work.
Because at that moment, because the cat was out of the bag, Nolan stopped operating as a hero. He stopped caring about being this viewed hero right.
You know,
he said, now you can't, like, bro, this hero thing is a facade. We Viltrumites are here to conquer. If you join me,
put him on game.
Right.
You know, like, I think one thing, and I think in a chat we were just talking about comparing this to other forms of media and like us trying to avoid that. But at the same time, this is a unique situation where Amazon has produced two counterfactual to the traditional superhero story. One being Invincible, one being The Boys. And what The Boys did slightly better than Invincible was match story beats with the characters effectively throughout the whole season. I'm not trying to say there weren't moments in Invincible where it would make sense, you know, for Mark to go this direction, like him not knowing how to balance the superhero identity with his relationships with his friends and his love interests. But at the same time, you know, this debate right here is a portion of the writers are hoping that we suspend disbelief, like that week is kind of, and that's not a bad thing. Like, it was still a well written moment.
It was
like it was still like a well written storyline, but at the same time, it's like, okay, if you don't look at the specifics, then this makes sense.
I think it's more so whether you're able to empathize or if you're looking at it just face value to me. Because I think that, like, if you're looking at straight face value, I can see how you could poke the holes. But to me, even without the comic book knowledge I had, I understood where Nolan's head was at throughout that entire episode. I totally got it.
Well, I mean, we know where his, like, it was very clear in the dialogue and his actions where his mind was.
Right.
But at the same time, episode 1 through 7 leading up to this point, and I think it was like around episode 5 when it was more and more clear of his nefarious intent based on how he was treating Debbie, that it became like that you know, it just like they only had so much time. If they had just a little bit more time, maybe 1 or 2 more episodes, this would not have been like episodes 6, 7, and 8 be so like, let's go. We like this. Yeah. This is crazy, y'all.
It's literally a flip of a switch.
And I'm like, damn. All right. Well, I mean, like we knew he was like we knew
it's not that unrealistic.
I just don't. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
Jordan.
No. I made that point right there. But.
Yeah.
I just think I feel like there's something to be said about possibly there being another episode, like if they maybe had like 9 or 10, that they might have been able to, I don't know if I'll say flesh it out, but kind of like maybe giving you a little bit more of a
scenario,
smoother, transition into the overkill stuff. But I think that so much of the first several episodes leading up to the penultimate episode and then the finale was Nolan trying to balance this secret with the facade. And I think that as the season went along, he was becoming more and more aware of, okay, I'm finding less and less reasons to keep this facade up. And then, go ahead, Sean.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's like y'all don't, you realize it, but you don't realize people like sociopaths and what have you exist where they can switch on stuff like that on and off.
That's fine. That's I mean, I think
like politicians.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not unrealistic what he did.
it's not. No. It's not that it's unrealistic what he did. I think what it comes down to is just how the whole thing played out. Like, yeah, he's a Viltrumite. Like, we understand his character. We know what he is, and like how he did his stuff makes sense now. I think for me, I would have preferred if it would have been a situation where they actually had a conversation, and I don't know, maybe like 25% of the episode is literally Mark and Nolan talking about what it means to be a Viltrumite, like having an honest conversation and so on and so forth. And then the break is like Mark finds out, wait, you killed the Guardians. Like, why didn't you just try to like solve it non-violently? And then that kind of spirals into a whole fight. And it's just like the way that, for me, I feel like the way that this went, where it was just like, yeah, I'm going to try to have a conversation with you. Oh no, fuck that. I'm going to throw you into a train and use your body as a weapon. It's just like, this isn't going to solve anything. Like,
well, the
me,
problem with that though is the moment that a murder mystery thing happened, and that there are capable people in this world who are trying to find out what the hell just happened. He killed the Guardians of the Globe. He killed the most famous superhero team in the world. You don't just wipe a team out like that and have people try not to find out what's going on there. So unless he took him to space, there wouldn't have been a period of time on Earth where he could just uninterrupted, because Cecil is out there.
Yeah.
Cecil on the hunt.
But
And
what's stopping him from doing that? There's nothing stopping him from doing that.
It was kind of. I think like that the whole context of the season, the Cecil investigation, and him kind of like telling the Hellboy guy to go fuck off was kind of a weird decision to be like, due to how untrusting Cecil is. But I think Cecil already knew that Omni-Man did it from the get-go. I
don't think very early on.
I think Cecil was aware of the possibility and he needed the facts. I think that he didn't want to jump.
Why would he throw away Hellboy?
He didn't want him exposing it before he understood why. He already knew that he did it.
And
Hellboy
because
would have made a big stink
him and Hellboy weren't like, on buddy terms either. Like, it was like a courtesy for Hellboy or Detective Darkblood or something to like even try to share some information. But he's like, all right, well, if we're not going to collaborate, then.
Yeah. Within the context of Cecil's nature, at least how it was conveyed, it just seemed like a weird step. Like, all right, he doesn't like the fucking guy, but he is the one that would have gotten like he is the hell detective that would have gotten all the facts immediately. Like Cecil's like, you're prodding Omni-Man, but when in the same time, Cecil's fucking invisible boys.
Thing. Yeah,
his invisible boys are in there, guns training the motherfucker 24/7.
Well, also because Cecil also has to consider things a little differently, because he is basically like he's the government. Like he has to move in a different way, and he's also trying to consider Debbie and the mark of it all. Like he's trying to consider the collateral damage to a degree.
He was very respectful to Mark and Debbie. That's that's a quality trait of him. But I'm more than confident that if there was a way to kill Omni-Man immediately and they were within like the vicinity of 100 yards, he's pushing that button. Oh, yeah. Like he's going to kill Omni. Cecil's that dude. Like he is like
if it's gonna be like, in order for us to kill Omni-Man, like unfortunately Mark and Debbie have to die. Yeah,
like he's courteous, yes, because he goes for that option, but
I think if he would have exhausted all other options and Debbie and Mark were in the vicinity, he'd have been like, all right, it's what needs to be done. But I don't think he would have got to that point right out the gate. Because if you notice, which was a great moment, when he pushed the hammer, that satellite laser.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's like, he wouldn't dare.
First off, the fact that Nolan broke the fourth wall for that moment, he was like, you wouldn't. And I'm like, why are you talking to me? I ain't doing that.
There was because I was like,
he made sure that moment was in the middle of an abandoned field. Like, yeah, it killed a bunch of birds and probably uprooted a biosystem. But
there was a moment when they were going against the Cthulhu monster when Cecil turned to Debbie and saying, like, we're not going to turn off this monster, even though Mark was about to die also to this monster. He's like, yo, this is the best bet against fucking Omni-Man.
Well, once again, he was hoping that Mark and them wouldn't show up at the scene. He was hoping that it'd just be Hail Mary going off on Omni-Man or whatever. But Mark showed up and he's like, well, look, okay, I'm not sure what I can do in this scenario. You know,
I don't think he could have turned it off.
Yeah, Hail Mary was
it just seems like that's one of the examples of us suspending disbelief, saying like, okay, he may have, would have, or could have, but at the same time, based on actions and presentation so far, some decisions were off, just off, like just him not using hell, like him just saying, fuck it, I don't care, like Hellboy has the answers, just use Hellboy and then make your plan. But like him
at
being
least,
like, okay,
at least that puts the focus, that puts Omni-Man's focus on Hellboy versus Cecil.
Well, are you thinking more? Actually, never mind. I was gonna say if you're thinking more about how you would go about it, or are you thinking more for okay?
One thing that confused me, and I was just like, all right, whatever. Like I literally suspended my disbelief, was the Hail Mary, the monster that they just summoned to fight.
Well, he killed it before, but they fucking
turn off the pain sensors or whatever.
Yeah, they put him with fucking HGH shit, Four Locos. Original drink because Cecil has the original discontinued Four Locos.
They summon Hail Mary from Hollow Earth and
and like I think for me, I like a show when it clearly describes power scaling, right? Where it's just like okay, Bleach has its problems, but it's like, all right, the next person, Ichigo has to get stronger in order to beat this person.
Until he does an ass pull power.
Until he becomes half black, when it's just like, I fuck with that. But like, I feel like in this show, it was so confusing to me in terms of how strong Omni-Man was. And it's just like, when he was fighting the monster and it was like, oh, the monster almost beat him or whatever. And it's just like, but this is just a fucking monster. Like, it was in the it was in the ocean or something that they said in the show.
Yeah, he fought it in Japan, and like the reason was they pumped him up with so much, like it was mainly painkillers that depowered the monster, that made the monster more powerful.
And he said they enhanced it as well.
I gathered that moment as, he's not fighting Hail Mary the same way he's fighting Invincible. What's his name? Immortal, or he's, it's a different scenario because he's fighting a kaiju rather than fighting a human or fighting, tiny aliens, or it's different. So I'm not saying that,
I guess
I don't think, because I don't ever feel like in that fight Omni-Man was about to lose.
It looked like he was about to lose. Mark came. Like that's what
Mark thought. Mark thought he was about to lose. I don't know if Omni-Man was going to lose that fight. Like, I don't know. I still don't know what can kill that man. Like,
if you remember at the end of one episode where they took a sample of Mark's blood, and I don't know if
y'all
watched the after credits.
They're trying to figure out like what things they can use.
Viltrumite cells just don't give a damn. They just won't die. He might be out of commission for a little while, but give him time and to recover. I don't think Mark and Omni-Man needed to sit in their special hospital. They just needed time.
Well, Mark is half human.
And that's another thing too, because Omni-Man definitely, or Nolan definitely said in the last episode, you're 100%, or you're pure Viltrumite blood or whatever, and it's just like,
nigga, he's not a biochemist. He's just talking from the heart. Shut up.
If I'm not mistaken, Marcus, it's like Viltrumite DNA is stronger whatever breed they mix with is stronger, and also method of incapacitating a Viltrumite deals with sound.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like they do have a weakness.
But it's not
we'll see if we'll see if the show continues, because they've taken liberties, at least based on what I've heard, compared to the comics. We'll see if that's still the case.
I'll tell you, DJ, the quickest, like, Mark will not become a full-on 100% like Viltrumite until he gets that mustache. And you think I'm joking, but I'm not.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I look forward to seeing that then.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's start moving through this through the show. We've pretty much talked enough about Nolan, so let's talk about other people.
All right.
What did you guys think of? I was about to say Mark and Nolan. Yeah. So okay, what was your favorite character? Favorite character and least favorite character? And least favorite character. That's exactly.
Yeah, you said it right. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let you guys go first.
No, Marcus, you go first.
No.
My favorite was Nolan. I understood all his motivations. I did not disagree. My least favorite was Amber. Throw her in the trash. All I got to say about that.
I feel like
wow, people don't like black women on here.
I feel like a lot of people were mad at Nolan, and I can't. I mean, I feel like a lot of people were mad at Amber, and I can't help but feel like this is like a Skylar from Breaking Bad situation again, where like nothing that Skylar or Amber to me were doing was unreasonable. Mark was acting like a dickhead. Like I don't think he was intentionally trying to, but I'm like, bro, you're not handling this properly.
They made it very clear in this show that secret identities means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. There's no risk in telling people what kind of superhero you are, because Adam Eve did it at the end, and they were like, all right, bet, whatever. Like,
well, at this point, like, Adam Eve telling them at the end, like, they already knew who Mark was, so she's kind of like, I guess this is kind of like a.
She felt comfortable with them keeping a secret,
right? And
also, she doesn't have a mask on, but whatever. I'll suspend my disbelief.
Nigga, Nolan doesn't either.
Superman complex.
What do you?
Again, I'll suspend my disbelief because
I mean, yes, there is a degree with secret identities where you do have to suspend your disbelief, but I think that also people underplay or underestimate how much our brain will assume something. Like if I was a superhero, but in my daily life I carried myself completely different, you could be like, you kind of look like that one guy. Nah, Marcus ain't that one guy.
They actually had something like that. They had a TikTok challenge. Heavens forbid why the fuck I was on there, but
you was trying to look at them silhouette challenges, and you just stumbled across this video.
No, but they had a Superman challenge where they had a bunch of blonde, blue-eyed white guys, and they would kind of dress down and hunch over their shoulders and look kind of dopey, and then they would do the switch and they'd be shirtless and puff up and look like a completely different person. Their hair would be different, all that good stuff. Like Mark said, the way you carry yourself, granted, it's a show. They're not going to really exaggerate those things.
Right.
That's a lot of work as far as animating and stuff, but it is believable.
I really appreciated, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, I'm sorry, but I really appreciated how the show didn't insult your intelligence with certain things in terms of how was it Amber and William figured out that Mark was invincible, because there were just certain things that wouldn't add. Like if Amber is as smart as they say she is, certain things just don't add up with the way Mark was acting. And if she didn't know that he was, or at least have that possible idea that he might have been invincible, I'd have been disappointed. And the same thing with William. He was that close to his face, and that's his best friend.
Yeah.
So when him being like, Mark, I was like, thank you, show. Thank you so much.
Amber said she realized it, weeks ago, right? And that was after the college thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, in terms of my favorite character,
Goku.
if only. For the lack of focus on most of the characters, like my favorite character is pretty much Nolan. Actually, between Nolan or Debbie, because I really like Debbie, and I really liked how like her lines and how she handled herself through this, being like, yeah, I'm just immortal, and like I live with people who have the ability to wipe my existence out with just breathing. My least favorite character was motherfucking Rex. I hate that dude, and I continue to hate him. And I hate the fact that he had plot armor and that he didn't die in that alien invasion thing, because it's just like, you literally throw
my guy was
fucking
basically
explosive
Gambit.
jawbreakers.
He was Gambit.
He was Gambit. Yeah, he was. He absolutely was. But just less cool. And it's just like, oh my God, I hate this guy. I hate everything about him. Even his costume sucked. Fuck that dude.
That's a fair hatred. You're supposed to hate him. What about you, Jordan?
My favorite character, it was Nolan. Omni Man. He was Superman that we all want, that Earth deserved, that this Earth deserved.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he's just this.
Wait a minute.
But
Omni Man makes Homelander look like a Barney character.
Yeah, I mean, like, he was pretty. He had like some of the best moments in the show. Like some of the sickest wipeouts were associated with his character.
He wiped the whole planet.
And
he wiped maybe
whole civilization.
Was it because they had technology stuff? Oh no, time travels faster for them.
Yeah.
Okay. And least favorite, I have to go with Rex also. Rex is, I mean, like, I know the voice actor, the actor of Rex. He's a pretty funny
Jason
guy.
Mantzoukas. Yeah.
Mhm.
But like, I don't know. He's, I was like, what's the appeal of this dude?
Yeah.
That's fair.
So just because Rex has been said again, I wanted to chime in. I didn't understand something. Robot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it turned out that Robot was just a genius kid who had a whatever that was. Yeah,
he was a 30-year-old man, but
was he? Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah, he
right.
was a grown man. Yeah,
you're right. What I didn't understand was that he took the DNA of Rex, right?
Rex is sexy.
Yes, but Rex also has super. No, he's not sexy. I take that back.
I mean,
you caught me in a stipulation.
We're not judging you, DJ.
But what I didn't understand was that how come Rudy didn't have any superpowers?
We don't know that he didn't, my guy, and we don't know the process that the Mauler brothers used.
He took his. I do not remember how Rex's powers came to be, so maybe like a DNA transfer wouldn't have given him the powers. But that's a fair question to ask.
Yeah.
We also don't know that he doesn't have it. Once again,
true. Well, although we did see, and another thing that was kind of weird for me.
Well, that's true.
Rudy,
maybe it's an age-based thing as well.
Could be.
Maybe he didn't get his powers until he became a teenager or something.
One thing that kind of I was like, wait, what was the last episode when the new Justice League decided to go out and save people, when they came back and you saw Rudy come out of Robot, and I was like, you can control them with your mind. Why are you risking your body? Like, you're a human child.
He wants to be in the field with, first off, he's a human genius child. Thank you very much. But also, he wants to be in the field with...
He doesn't have developed abs, Marcus. He's a human child.
He wants to be in the field with his boo thing.
But like, I don't know. To me, that
let
was
young people be young.
Boy, you should know that. He wants to be in the field with his boo.
Yeah, I mean, like, that was just something that was just like, that's strange. Okay, whatever.
I mean, why does Iron Man get in his suit when he can send his Doombots or whatever to go do whatever?
I have an answer for this, Marcus. It's very easy. It's called privilege.
And I guess my favorite character is Battle Beast. Battle Beast.
Oh yeah.
Battle Beast wants all the smoke, and Battle Beast will give you the smoke.
But he was only in there for like.
I said what I said. Battle Beast showed up and smoked everybody.
I want to take my back. I'm on the Battle Beast train because boy, wait. I was like, who is this Thundercat looking at? Oh my god.
Battle Beast is the greatest, and y'all are not ready for Battle Beast does going forward. Even though they still remixing this show, if they keep some of them moments in there, boy, y'all in for a treat. But outside,
he beat Mark's ass. It was like, by God, he's broken in two. That man had a family,
bro. Mark was getting smacked all the way up.
Mark was like, time out.
He's like, Dad, please. Nolan was like, nah, nigga, I ain't coming down there.
Right.
Christ.
Do you think Nolan could have beaten Battle Beast?
Yeah.
I was wondering why he just sat there and watched him get his.
Because he's an asshole. That's why. Because
wow.
Nolan
this
is
is before
an
we knew.
asshole. Yeah.
Before that moment, or actually during that moment, in my mind, I thought like, oh, maybe Viltrumites are like Saiyans. So like, if you beat them to like an inch of their life, they will come back stronger. But nah, he was just like, fuck this child. Let's see.
Nah, because Nolan said it in the episode. He was like, you're going to learn a harsh, if you go this route, you're going to learn a harsh lesson. And so Nolan was sitting there in his mind being a good parent, like, look, see, I told you.
Nolan was like, hey, yo, Battle Beast, I need you to go take care of my child real quick.
But outside of the Battle Beast of it all, he really is one of my favorite characters. But my favorite character overall, probably, it's between Mark, Nolan, and Debbie. Like it can go either way. Because I really loved Mark's arc this season. Nolan is a fascinating character, and Debbie's just great. Like Debbie's just amazing.
Yeah.
My least favorite character, I guess just by default Rex, even though I find Rex amusing, but like Rex is trash and he knows he's trash, but there's more story to tell there, but like just based off of his season 1 presence, he's funny, but he's trash. So yeah, Rex.
Okay. All right. We've pretty much kind of covered our favorite moments, or do you guys have anything?
Oh no, I still have things to say.
Oh, all right. Go ahead then. What's your favorite moment then, Marcus?
Oh man. Where do I even begin? The twist in episode 1, fantastic moment. One of the best twists I've ever seen, just executed in a television show. Nolan going into that planet and saying, this is my territory and y'all gonna learn today.
That shit was hilarious. And that had a double meaning at the time, but we did not know it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that I don't understand.
Yeah, he said it. But I really feel like, and it's not my favorite moment because like of how amazing it is, or not how much I enjoyed it, but more so it's my favorite moment because of how well it paints a picture. The subway moment.
Oh, yeah.
My God,
I'm gonna take the bus the next time.
I have never seen something like that.
Humans are paper. That's what that is.
Jordan, you don't remember when he punched him through the building and he tore up that whole street. You might have been on that bus that got flipped as well.
Actually,
nowhere is safe.
It was just one bus though. I mean, like I can get off the bus. I can't get off a subway train.
That's true.
Those people are trapped.
I'll say actually the subway is included, that whole fight with Nolan and Mark, because it did a great job of showing, one, the realistic collateral damage of superhero fights. Like,
thank you. That it personifies Man of Steel.
No matter how, because that's exactly what was happening in that fight. And why do you think I hate that section of the movie so much? I hate that section because I'm like, Superman, at least what you're trying to say, he's a paragon of hope. He would not be fighting like this, y'all. Not when people haven't been evacuated.
It was funny that they actually took. I mean, like they went through a fucking cruise ship, which is even more hilarious. But like they actually took it to like a somewhat desolate area. I'm like, you know what?
Nolan was taking Mark to every pole of the earth, whooping that man's ass and saying, I can still kill everyone here because humans are disposable. And I just love, like I said, the realistic portrayal of collateral damage. No matter how hard Mark was trying to save these people, humans are squishy and like buildings are falling and all that, but he kept trying. And I loved the picture that painted of like Nolan trying so hard to get his point across, but Mark being so stubborn and like, I wanted him when he said that time that he wanted to be like Nolan. He wanted to be like his dad because in his mind, his dad was the greatest superhero to ever live.
Mhm.
And so him trying so hard, but still failing and still continuing to get back up, that exemplified his character to me in that moment. And I love that whole section. I thought that was beautiful stuff.
I don't think Mark actually took in account that if it wasn't Omni-Man, it was going to be somebody else because he could not stop those invading aliens the first time around.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like his whole people were making jokes about, like Mark calls himself invincible, but that man gets washed every episode.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, get this man a training arc. And I'm like, y'all, this is his training arc. Like this, we are witnessing his training arc.
They're used to a quick montage.
Right. He's not going to be great out the gate. And he's learning hard lessons throughout this entire season. And the fact that he continues to keep trying is what is really special about him. He's like if Spider-Man had a whole lot more murder in it.
This is the American My Hero Academia.
Yeah. I was actually gonna play devil's advocate and be like, is that really special, or is that just a trait of the hero syndrome, where it's just I have to keep trying.
Well, aren't heroes special by default because not everybody can be a hero?
No.
All right, what y'all?
That's those scenes though with the invading army and that one fucking general just kept on getting promoted every time he came back. That shit was hilarious to me.
That man was failing upward. That man was on Jon Snow trajectory.
Hey man, he came back with new information every time.
Right.
It's not his fault.
That's true. And wanted all the same smoke.
That's true. All right.
What was y'all's favorite moments? Did you have any others to bring up, or did you kind of go over them while we were talking throughout?
Jordan?
No. You went over them.
Sean?
I just had my moment. Who?
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
Exactly, just like the rest of the goddamn show, Donald. Were you playing Gundam in between scenes?
Probably.
Maybe.
That's a good question.
I in terms of fights, I would say I liked the end fight at the first episode more than the fight in the last episode, mainly because it wasn't really a fight. It was a one-sided ass whooping. Yeah. So, but in terms of, I think for me,
don't make me take off this belt, boy.
Right. But you don't have belt. But in terms of me, for me, I really liked the scene between Mark and Debbie when Mark was training and he landed in the backyard. It was nighttime, and Debbie was like, "You have to go inside. You have school in the morning or whatever." And he was like, "Make me." And she was like, "Does that make you feel powerful?" I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I did like this.
Like, jeez.
Yeah.
Mark was like, "Oh, I fucked up."
That's why Debbie's the GOAT, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really good for me. I really like that.
I just also real quick also want to bring up I loved both moon conversations that Mark had with Alan the alien. I love both of those conversations very much.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of moments in the show that I really loved.
So, can we discuss? Does anybody feel like Nolan was the villain,
in this show,
or is a villain?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Because he kills people. He kills innocent people. He doesn't have any care for human life and for humans. So I empathize with the people on the show.
Nolan,
they all acknowledge that America and the UK is a villain.
No, I mean, like, he just they were innocent.
Yeah.
He literally killed a child's parent in front
and he
of
killed
them.
them indiscriminately.
It's necessary.
I don't think that was necessary.
He killed them indiscriminately. Like, it wasn't even on some like America is a problem. He's like all humans are ants. Y'all niggas need to die.
You can't liken Nolan to like a Victor Von Doom. Like, Victor Von Doom is a villain, but at the same time he has like a very specific reason for his actions.
All
I'm not trying to
Well,
say that
Nolan
Omni-Man
does, but yeah.
all,
like,
all I'm
like,
saying,
it's not like,
if
you know,
you
selfish
look back at
reasons.
the tape, if you look back at the last episode, Nolan stepped on a lady of color. Nolan squished the head of a man of color. Nolan got some things
It'd
to
be
talk
like that.
about.
It'd be like that on your mission. He did nothing different than the settlers did to the Native Americans first coming to America,
But
or
these-
the British on wherever.
These were
They are also
innocent,
villains.
these were innocent people. What about that village at the bottom of the mountain that he caused an avalanche to occur? And
Collateral
kill?
damage.
Well,
Necessary
there
to the
you
mission.
go.
Nah, that wasn't collateral damage. That wasn't damn. He caused that. Like he did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yo, Mark hit the ground, and Nolan was like, "It didn't cause that. Well, let me cause that."
He
real quick.
exactly. He punched Mark on that mountain so that the snow would fall and kill all the people.
Hey, you gotta have a little fun at your job from time to time. Man.
No.
No.
Omni-Man is a clear antagonist.
Yeah,
That's
he
one thing that
he is a villain with a capital V. My God, that boy is a menace. He's a fascinating menace.
It was cool to see him. I mean, as this being a cartoon, it was cool seeing him wipe out fictional people.
Mhm.
But in real life, this would have been the worst
The thing
catastrophe, like multiple 9/11s.
If it was live action, it wouldn't have bothered me.
well,
I mean, like by live action, I mean real life. I mean real life people dying.
I'll just say that, like, I wouldn't even be able to call what he was doing cool to look at. Like, I can't speak for the rest of y'all, but like I said, that whole fight with Mark was horrifying to me. Like,
that was great. That's why it was. That's what I mean. Like, it was a cartoon. I'm sorry.
no, but like, just what was happening. At least for me, I was like, yo. I've never seen something like this.
I know,
especially in a cartoon. Like, this is insane.
I rewinded many times. I was like, I specifically rewinded the cruise moment. I was like, damn.
Was it because it was an American cartoon and not an anime, so you could relate more, and that it made it a little bit more horrifying?
No,
I feel like there are animes with like sick wipeouts and stuff like that. So
it was.
So what made this one? What made this one hit more? Is what I'm saying.
But no, because of what we said, what I said in the beginning was how close it was to the Static Shocks and stuff like that.
Well, for me, it was more horrifying just because of the context of it. Like, not only is this a father and a son fighting like this, and it's so grotesquely one-sided, but it's also just the optics of this is this world's greatest hero in their minds, and he is on live television murdering thousands of people with his son's body. Like, this is the wildest shit.
You know what hardened me for this moment though? Like, I think if I did not see that before this, I would have been feeling the same way. But in The Boys, when Stormfront killed the housing project, that fucked me up a little bit. Like, seeing like innocent black people just being killed by that superhero, specifically because she was racist. But this moment, I was like, this. It just felt.
It's
fun.
What's weird to me is I think it's just the stylized nature of The Boys and the way that they play up some of the horrific moments for giggles, that it doesn't really affect me that much. Like, it's like, oh, this is a bunch of
what?
the tone of The Boys, not always, there are times where they play it very seriously, but the tone of The Boys is so flippant sometimes with like, oh look, they crashed into a whale, and then they make a joke about it when they crawl out of the whale. It's like, it's a very deliberately flippant tone that when it gets graphic, it doesn't like horrify me. It's like, oh wow, that's wild.
But the cartoon horrified you though.
I
just
feel
like I said, the context of that moment, not the entire way through Invincible, it didn't horrify me.
I feel like even in that episode, it was very much so. The front half was like, oh, it's violent and horrifying, but then the back half was like, almost like we're gonna be okay. It's just like, what? Like when
I can't.
Invincible had to talk with the guy on the moon or whatever,
Mhm.
and like Invincible smirked at the end, which is like, no, nigga, you just got washed. Like you still weak. What are you doing?
I mean, I don't know. Like that moment to me was he was trying to. In my mind, Mark was like, "We gonna keep getting back up and we gonna keep fighting." Like, and that might have not worked for you. That's fair. That's totally fine. But to me, I'm saying that like it horrified me in the context of what was happening in that moment. They did not play that moment with Omni-Man and Mark for jokes at all. That stuff that was happening was ultra serious. Whereas
it was serious, but I mean, like him using his son's body as a battering ram against a train, like that was just fucking crazy.
I can understand.
Wait. Nolan used Mark's body just like how John Walker used Captain America's shield.
Yeah, and like
I mean, like it was
I can understand how ridiculous that situation was and how you could have laughed at it from that standpoint. I'm not saying you're wrong. I totally get it. It's just for me it was horrifying. Whereas like with the boys, like I'm saying, I'm not saying that there's no horrifying moments on the boys, but I think tonally and it's deliberate because the show does this that way. It's got this very punk rock flippant tone.
But that boys scene was like last summer, and like it was right around when the George Floyd stuff happened. I mean, I know it did not do it. I think like that moment, I was like, I need to take a shower after this. Like,
no, that's the moment. For me, in terms of the boys, the moment when Homelander laser beamed like 80% of that crowd, I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? Like that was wild. Like,
but it was undercut right away with realizing that it was in his head. He didn't actually do that.
Yeah, but still, like that's
so like it was
that's still wild though.
It was wild, but then I realized he didn't actually do it. So I was like, oh, okay. That's like
yeah. I mean, like there are moments, and like I don't want to turn this to like a boys cast, but we have multiple articles out there that are talking about Invincible and the boys at the same time. So I think we should be fine.
I mean, they're on the same network, you know.
When Shorty was popping heads in the hearing or whatever, I mean that was one part hilarious or one part horrifying.
Oh yeah,
because you have this. Because specifically you have this it was a situation of having this superhero that can pop niggas' heads without us, knowing who they are.
Right. Exactly.
But I think what can take people out of Invincible, not trying to belittle what people that may having a more appalled feeling towards this last episode and the one we're talking about here is because like it's animated, and
it's a cartoon.
I think because it's animated, I wasn't able to like really, get in at that. I mean, I still felt something though. I was like, damn, this shit's fucked up.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the best example I could give for the boys is a lot of the grotesque nature of the action has that feel of like when Butcher gets that baby with the laser eyes and they're just like murking people with it. Like that is the general tone of the violence in that show. There are moments when it gets really serious and it's like, oh, that's kind of off-putting. But for the most part, it's just like, oh, look at this. It's cartoon violence, but realism, and it's like, so it doesn't really, it excites me because it's like, oh, this is crazy. But it's not like, oh, I'm horrified by what's happening. But I also get, because it's a cartoon, that like people could just be kind of like, oh well,
fuck them. Stop being two-dimensional next time.
I get what you're saying. I feel differently, and like I think for me, I found both the graphic scenes of the boys and the graphic scenes of Invincible both horrifying. Although I feel like I might weigh the live action stuff over the cartoon stuff just for the fact that these are actual bodies that are being exploded or whatever versus like cartoon where it's just like I've been desensitized to cartoon violence for as long as I can think of. So it doesn't really bother me.
I guess also just how graphic, because like, I think a lot of in anime and in cartoons, even when it gets graphic, we kind of don't usually see the viscera and all the intestines. Like we do see a lot of blood and like, you know, decapitations, but they don't go that extra mile some of the times where there's like
Blood
the
plus.
entrails and whereas in this they was like, nah, nigga, you gonna get
That's your
all
large
the inside.
intestine.
Exactly. Like you're gonna get an anatomy lesson when someone gets ripped in half.
All right. To wrap this up, let's talk about how this ended, and more so, the 5-minute collage of different things happening around the universe, and reminding you that these things are still in play, like the little aliens on Mars, and the humanoid robot things that guy is making for Cecil and all that stuff. What do you guys think about that? And what do you guys want to see for season 2 and season 3? More so season 2.
I think that the last 5 minutes kind of solidified my perspective of the story thread in general, like in terms of introducing people at certain points that could have been introduced later. I think the main example is Rockman. I don't know his villain name is,
Titan.
but
the black guy. Yeah,
he's less of a villain and more of an anti-hero. He's like Luke Cage. Like remember at the end of Luke Cage season 2 where he takes over that club so that he can better regulate what's going on in the hood.
I didn't watch Luke Cage. I don't know.
When we get to that point and that's conveyed to us, I'm excited to see that. I mean, but at the same time, I think he was introduced in one of the weaker episodes.
I actually like that episode. I don't think we needed that last part of Titan sitting in the chair and the guy with the robot mouth, robot jaw. Is that a character? Is that another like villain from the season? Or
that's from the show. I mean, that's from the comics.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just saying, did we see that character with the robot mouth before in this season?
He didn't.
The robot mouth?
You're familiar with
So
like a dragon came out of him or some shit. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
So,
no.
Like,
that was purely fan service.
Yeah.
And like it just felt it just felt like this season was a primer for all. I feel like it was already approved for 3 seasons before they announced it.
Well,
surprise.
Frankly, most first seasons are primers for what's to come.
But the structure of it had issues, is what I'm trying to say. Like there are people that are introduced that I just didn't feel like it just didn't make sense for them to be introduced at that time, which made some episodes less impactful across this season of 8 episodes than others. And that's what the final 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, I remember that moment, guy. I remember that moment, guy. I remember that moment, guy. But do I really care right now?
Yeah.
And I didn't. But I look forward to see them develop as time goes on, as they introduce to, deliver whatever character development regarding Invincible. But yeah, no, like it was all right.
I feel like that last little bit could have been like, in case you missed, this is what happened or whatever, and it shows that, and then it's like, now welcome season 2 episode 1 of Invincible. Like I also didn't feel like it was necessary. Also, the fucking the earthquake guy, he fell in lava. Like how did he survive that? Whatever. So it was just like, all right, cool.
We have some comparisons because like Castlevania season 1 was a point A to point B and point C endeavor. Like it felt like like there are some shows out there that use the first episode as a primer, but there's others that don't. There's others that have a clear point A to point B to point C story thread within that season. This one's like just kind of priming everyone for their future activity, like the future seasons.
I agree with you guys in terms of like especially for people who are new to the source material, how that moment kind of was like, or some of the stuff they showed in that were like, what does this mean to me? I like the moment itself because of the way that it was set up with like Alan asking Mark what was next, and then they kind of show that there's still a lot of things that are, even though what just happened with his dad was huge, there's still a lot of stuff. If he's going to continue to be a hero, there's a lot of stuff still out there that's needs to be dealt with, and I like the way that was structured, but I can totally understand how, like, watching it blind, you're just kind of like, oh, okay, like,
Right.
Yeah. What about you, Sean?
I'm kind of upset that humans need hope and that this show isn't called Omni Man. I actually want to see him come back with the Viltrumites and conquer Earth. And I'm like dead serious because there are so few mediums where the quote unquote villain wins. There are only but a few movies that happens, a few books,
But he did. He
Well,
did
Sean,
essentially win.
Can I recommend you a game? It's called Destroy All Humans. It's like you're literally doing that.
Just watch Infinity War on a loop and never go any further after that. No, but yeah, I mean, I'll say this: you're definitely going to get him coming back with the Viltrumites.
Yeah,
he's coming. You gonna see it.
Excellent.
But yeah, I guess, is there anything else that you guys want to see going forward, or are you just ready for season 2 and 3 as it was?
I'm excited about the Council of Planets or whatever that's all about. That seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing where this goes, especially anything that I knew of Invincible has already been exhausted in this season. So going forward, I don't know what is to happen. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see what season 2 or how season 2 shows up and what's happening with Mark, and if there's going to be. I really hope there's a time skip, because like I don't need another couple episodes of Mark figuring himself out and figuring out how to be a hero and how to save people, because
you want to ship it in time jump?
Yes, actually I do.
I feel like there probably will be a degree of a time jump. They're gonna at least show that he's more experienced, I'd imagine. Okay. I think one of my favorite things about Invincible is how they show that you no matter how long you're a hero, there's still elements of things that you're figuring out. And I think that if he were to just be this elite level hero after the time jump, I feel like it'd be a little disingenuous. So I think
we're not going to elite level, but just like more capable and like understanding of like, oh, I need to save that person. Let me protect them in a way not to completely destroy their body when I'm moving them. Like just little things like that. Would be
That's fair. He's also probably going to be way more used to his powers by that point too. So he'll know what. Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm ready for season 2 and 3. I hope that we get 5 seasons out of this at the least, because even with the remixes of the story, that's still over 100 issues of material to get through. And especially if they're going to be doing 8-episode seasons going forward, that's a lot of ground to cover in 16 episodes. So I hope that they get at least 5 seasons to fully tell this story, because it's a hell of a story to tell. But yeah, I'm glad that we got 2 new seasons in the back burner right now, and hopefully that continues going forward.
Cool. Well, with that being said, we just finished our Invincible review ramble. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it. If you are listening to this, thank you for listening. But next time, please watch, because we would like the view. Or you can do both, because
that's true.
Even better.
You could listen to the episode if that's what you prefer, and then just put the video on the background and just leave it running and then subscribe.
TJ did that all wrong. You could have said, this is our review of...
Oh, you're right.
Where's your showmanship?
We've been at this for 4 years.
Right? One day I'll get it, one day. But not today, because if you miss any of this, you can find all the details and more on our website at pressx2start.com. And you watch our videos. We got a Mortal Kombat review, we got a Falcon and Winter Soldier review, and now we'll have this Invincible review. So check it all out. It's all great. And then listen to our games podcast, because that's gonna happen Very
Yeah, I was
soon.
just trying to think about what the next thing is even going to be that we end up
Cereal.
talking
We're gonna
about.
argue about cereal.
Oh, you right.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna
You
have
right.
some non-review based rambles coming up. And then the next thing that we review, if you're looking forward to more of our review content, is probably going to be Loki.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So look up forward to that.
Yep. Until then, stay safe. Don't take subways. And Nolan was right.
Stay dangerous, y'all.
Take care.
Peace.